Hello, this is your professor, Dr. Bloom, and I have a special guest who's on my screen over here. This is Dr. Cocchi, and is here to tell us about his role in service learning and some of the experiences and expectations, and hopefully give you a good sense of hope and excitement about taking on service learning during this semester. So, Dr. Cocchi, please take it away.
Hey everybody. Like Dr. Bloom said, my name is Cody Cocchi. I work here in the Center for Service Learning. We're over here in the Corral building if you ever make it on campus. And so what I do is we are a support office. We support faculty members, students, and community partners, all who are engaging in service learning work. And so what that entails is it's a specific type of course that we offer here at CCGA, which you're lucky enough to be in. And what that is you're engaging in some element of service that's related to what you're going to be learning in the classroom. And so that connection to that academic component, that's the really big part of what service learning is. And as part of the class, you'll be doing some reflection activities. And really, those are any activities that are meant to connect what you're learning outside in whatever experience you're getting, and then whatever you're learning in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So really, those are the two big components, is that element of service connected to the academic content.
Mm-hmm. And Cody and I have worked together a lot for many, many years, since the very beginning, I think, of your time at CCGA. So he has been like the bedrock. He is always here to help us. He has ideas, and he's super supportive and super creative, which has helped me help students have really enriching experiences. So Cody, this idea of reflections, I just posted on the course news feed a kind of a post and an email that lists the three the learning objectives that we are going to be using for this semester. And I don't have them memorized, but students can go right from here, right over, or below actually, on the course news feed and see what they are. And I gave suggestions to start the reflection in a form of a journal, where they could even start now thinking about what does it mean to do service learning? Why have I been called to do this right now in time in my education? And to start getting used to writing down when they have thoughts, and to start building their thoughts as they start to do emails with suggestions of locations. You've already given us a couple, and they're on the course news feed with United Way and voter registration. And we will, Cody and I will continue to work together to make sure there are a good list of experiences on there. So the reflections can be started, and I have really good tips about how to journal using the actual learning objectives from the course to get your thoughts going and to carry you throughout the entire project.
Yeah, and that reflection component is really big, and it's really important to do kind of at the beginning of the process, during, kind of while you're engaged in it, and also after. I think a lot of folks really emphasize that after piece, but don't really get the value of that before and during piece. And it's really kind of eye-opening for students as well to kind of go back and read some of those, because your initial thoughts are probably going to be a little far off from what you end up with in your final reflection. So I think just being able to see that growth from start, middle to finish really is important and valuable. So it can really start to get you thinking about what it was you actually learned throughout this process.
Mm-hmm. And so what have you found in terms of service learning, kind of students engaged in it? And I know you did some research with your dissertation, but also just your experience, kind of what are the kind of take-home moments about doing service that you've found that can give our students in this course the feeling of wanting to engage and feeling hopeful about having a really good experience?
There's a lot of research that shows that service learning is good. It gives you experience. It's a really, one student put it, it's a really safe risk.
Yeah.
And what they meant by that was, you're not quite out in the job market, at least for your psychology yet, but it can kind of give you that kind of dip your toe in the water moment, where you can really start to see, is this the direction that I want to go? And because within psychology, I mean, you've got hundreds and of options in which directions you want to take. So by being able to kind of start to mold your education in your own way and in the direction that you want it to, you can really start to see, is this the direction I want to go with it? Or maybe this is something that I don't really enjoy, and that part of the learning is good too, because you not only want to figure out what you want to do, but you also want to figure out what you don't want to do as well. And so I think that's a really big value, just kind of that in that career and personal exploration type of thing. But also, I think it's just nice as an individual to kind of see, is service something that I really am into? Because if you're going to go into psychology, it probably should be. So those are some good things. Also, just by being engaged in this class, you have a higher likelihood of having a higher GPA.
Yes.
On average, students have about a 0.2 higher GPA than students who don't take service learning, which I know is not a huge jump, but I mean, that can bump you up from a 2.8 to a 3.0.
That's right, exactly.
Or a 3.8 to a 4.0.
That's right, exactly.
So that's good. And then also, in terms of academic outcomes, students are much more likely to graduate, much more likely to persist from semester to semester. So a lot of good outcomes come out of service learning. And then that connection, too, I think is the important piece, too, that networking piece. Because a lot of our students, they get jobs here in the local community. And so as part of that, you want to make those connections. Sometimes it is about who you know and just them being able to help you out, whether it's directly by giving you a job or indirectly by being able to write your recommendation. I mean, if you do a really good job on these projects, people are going to want to help you succeed and want to see you succeed. And so as part of that, they can say, hey, this student did a really good job, and here's what the project was. And it'll give you another talking point, too, as you're in these interviews. You can kind of really dig in and say, hey, I didn't just take classes here. I didn't just get through college. I had these experiences that were valuable and built on my skills, my knowledge, my attitudes, all those things. Those employers, they really want to hear a story. Yes. They don't just want to say, oh, I took a bunch of psychology courses and, made a 3.0 or did better or worse than that. They want to hear what you got out of it. So I think service learning can be a conduit to that explaining what it was you got out of your college experience.
Let me bounce off of that and ask you, what would be like the top 2 characteristics of really successful service learning students? What are some of the traits or characteristics, or I think that would help students know what they're kind of striving towards.
Well, so the communication piece, I think, is critical because unlike your past experiences in classes, you just have the faculty member and they're paid to respond to you. Whereas if you're with a community partner, I mean, they're really not beholden to you in any way. I mean, I'm sure they're going to benefit from the service that you provide and collaborate with them on. But at the same point, they're busy individuals too. So just being able to reach out to that partner, establish some sort of communication protocol. Do you want me to email you? If you don't email me back in how many days, you want me to bug you again?
Yeah, good.
You don't just want to wait till the last minute and say, hey, I emailed you yesterday.
Or they never got back to me, and we find out 5 weeks later, and we're like, ah!
Yeah, or they don't prefer email because they don't check it ever. So maybe they prefer you text them, or maybe they prefer that you give them a call in the office. Those types of things are important to establish early on. So just keeping up with that communication piece, I think, is the most important part. And don't just fall off either. I know things are going to get busy. I know you're going to get busy with other classes as well. But don't just communicate really well in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they don't hear from you for 4 weeks. And then all of a sudden you're rushing to get back in touch with them again.
That's not so fun.
Even just reaching out and saying, hey, I've been really busy. I'm going to reach out to you in a couple weeks. That's good communication. Yes. And so setting that expectation. So the communication piece is big, and also the follow-through piece. I know it seems that these are very, easy things to get at, but it's really not. Being able to follow through with what you say you're going to do and in a timely manner is really important. Because like I said, these partners, they are busy. They have full-time jobs, and most of them are with nonprofit agencies, which are already limited in resources, both human and fiscal. So really, they need the help, but I don't know how much time and energy they're going to be able to put into it if you're not putting in that same energy.
So a good tip there is to, just have that in part of your framework. It's not that you're not wanted or not loved or not good enough. It's simply finding a way to communicate and work with somebody so that you can get what they need done without the sort of a minimum amount of contact in some ways. I mean, that's just kind of how it's going to go. Different projects will have different amounts of contact, different levels of traits and personalities of people, but it's such a real world experience, and we're so excited to give you these opportunities.
I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
so what do you think are the biggest traits of a successful service learning project for students?
I think that the projects that have gone the best rather, are people who sometimes collaborative skills. Are they able to collaborate with other people? Are they going to collaborate with other students? Even if it's, now these are all remote so far, all the opportunities, but I'm going to make discussion sort of areas where students that are doing voter registration can get together and can talk. And I'm going to offer them some collaborative tools where they can kind of either text with one another, or even a Ethernet pad, which is a collaborative tool where they can be writing in real time and work out some ideas. So I find the students that do that well, and I find students that stick the project out to the bitter end. I really admire them. We had some students at the Y one summer, spring semester into summer, and they were coaching little kids soccer, and that's not available right now. But and the semester kind of ended, but there was still 3 more Saturdays, and a couple of students said, like, "Don't worry," to the people there, "we're not going anywhere. We're going to follow through." And that really makes an impression on me and on the people in the community, that the students are dedicated and really care about them and those projects. So I think that has always been impressive for me, just getting the job done, and maybe going a little bit more if it's needed and you can do it. Cody, can I ask you one more question that I know they'll enjoy the answer to? There is they have a requirement of doing this journaling and reflection for me, and also a requirement of creating the posters, which they can work on in teams if they're at the same place. So can you talk a little bit about the poster celebration? I know it went virtual in the springtime, and I think it was a huge success. I loved it. Do you want to talk a little bit about how they might contribute to that?
Yeah, sure thing. So we do have a service learning symposium every year in April. So you can't necessarily be required to present this April. However, we're kind of working out whether that's going to be an in-person event or not, which we will definitely invite you to if it is in person. However, we understand the reality and safety issues of today. So we went virtual for 2020. Since April was kind of right in the heavy kind of figuring out what this is going to look like time. So it is available online, which I can share the link with Dr. Bloom, and she can share that with you as well, just to kind of get a sense of what the posters look like. Well, let me back up. They don't have to be posters.
Okay.
They may need to be posters for your class, but we can really take any type of presentation. So if you make a poster, you make a narrated PowerPoint, if you make a video, really anything we can embed into a website, we can put on this Service Learning Symposium site.
That's so exciting. I love choices, as you know, so I can give them choices now. And I use TikTok for students in the spring semester as an option for one discussion. And it's not the best forum, but some people had a pretty long TikTok because they edited it all together into a longer kind of story. So we might challenge your thoughts about what is okay, actually, for your symposium.
And I'll be able to share a narrated PowerPoint that I put together for our poster sessions. So just giving you tips and tricks on how to create a PowerPoint poster.
Well, I know that they will love all the materials we can give to them, and especially the narrated PowerPoint because that's a powerful teaching tool. And how, just in the final moments here, when might a student contact you, Cody? Do you like email? How long might it take for them to get back to you?
Sure thing. I'm usually pretty good about email. If I'm away, I put up an away message. So typically it's within 48 hours. I think is my typical rule. You can reach me at. It's gonna have a lot of C's in it. It's
I'll put it.
CEOCCHI at ccga.edu. Or you can give me a shout on my direct line, which is 912-279-5976. And Dr. Bloom will share that contact information with you as well. You can always swing by the Center for Service Learning as well. We're in 112A, which is on the first floor. And also, I didn't want to get away without mentioning the Community Partner Clearinghouse. I know Dr. Bloom presented 2 of those opportunities to you, but there are plenty of others. We've reached out to the community, asked what their needs are, both for in-person and for virtual types of experiences for students. And so the link is www.ccga.edu/clearinghouse. And that's basically, I think we've got about 35 community partners that have reached out to us, or we've reached out to them and told us exactly what they're looking for. So just talk to Dr. Bloom and make sure that that's something that aligns with the learning goals of your course, and go on from there.
I will do that, and we will. I will share that material, your contact information, and this video. So, Dr. Cocchi, thank you so much. It's great to talk to you in this way. And right before we started doing this interview, I was talking about how much I really enjoy being remote, not because we're separated, but because we had to find new ways to come together that might be unique and creative. And so I hope you as students really get a lot out of this video. And thank you, Cody, so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bloom.
Appreciate it. All right. We will see you either on campus in email or reaching out to you in another way. Thank you.